Our next panel speaker here today, somebody who you have seen probably on television, former University of Maryland star, one of the standouts in the WNBA as well, especially now in a day where so many of you, where women's sports, women's basketball in particular, is beginning to get a lot of the attention that it deserves. Without further ado, huge round of applause, give it up for Miss Sonia Chase.
Thank you, Chad. I appreciate the introduction. I want to thank Councilmember McDuffie and the other council member for inviting me today. Thank the panelists for being here as well. So just a little bit about myself before I get started. I'm from the Baltimore area. I'm not from DC, but I did go to University of Maryland, and I was adopted by folks in the DC area. We had a lot of fans that came from the DC area. From there, I was drafted to the Women's NBA. Played for Charlotte in Minnesota, also played in Europe and Asia, which is what women mostly do. We don't have to do it now, but if you want to, you can go overseas, and I did that. I was in Greece, Turkey, and China. And I played also in another professional basketball league called the NWBL, which is another league that you can play in the United States if you don't want to go overseas. And so Becky Hammond and a lot of the names that you know, Lisa, a lot of us played in that league. So that's a little bit of basketball talk, all right? In case you all were wondering. I also, from playing basketball, was drafted. After I was drafted, I actually started an organization called Chase Your Dreams Academy and Chase Your Dreams Inc. Chase Your Dreams Academy, what we do there is we harness the universe, our mission is harnessing unifying force of sports to catalyze positive change within low-income and underserved communities. So what we do is we serve the underserved communities. It's for us, it's not about going to the next level. What I've done is I've taken my life and I've created a situation where I'm using that as a resource to get other resources. Because I have access to people and people that have money. And so that's what we need. We need resources to come and help our children who can't even help themselves. One thing that I do think is an issue is we work in silos a lot with coaching. And not to call anybody out or anything like that, and I don't know if you all coaches working in silos, and that's fine. But what I mean by that is, what happens is our youth, they are in a situation where they may not get along with the person down the street, right? But they are playing sports. And so what happens is, what we think is if we use sports to bring kids together, then maybe they'll get along better. And maybe that will prevent some violence, just a little bit, right? But if we're working in silos and we're coaching in silos and we're not, allowing the kids, because the coaches don't get along, we don't allow the kids to get along. And so the violence is going to continue. So we have to, in my opinion, we have to go really to the foundation of it, which is, okay, how can we come together? How can we use sports? Basketball is the hook for me. Because I already have a name in the background, I don't need to ride the coattail of any kid. Some people do. I don't. So that distinguishes me from anybody else. And there's no competition because I don't, that's not about, we're all serving the same good here. But what I mean is that, so lots of times all of these kids that are getting recruited, they have a lot of people talking to them, right? I was that kid. But what happens is you need people that you can trust, right? And you need a trusting net around you. And so I can go on and on and on, but the point I'm making is we've got to get out of working in silos and work together. And I know that's difficult because we all have our own agendas, right? But if your agenda is truly the agenda from a foundation level to use sports to bridge divides and bring people together, then we're all on the same team.
Point is that I saw that there were coaches that were beefing with each other, and that directly spilled down to the teams that were beefing with each other. And not only that, but on Facebook, the communities of those teams were beefing with each other as well, which doesn't help. So how do we get beyond that? How do we keep competition, Sonia, but get beyond that?
So, Chad, that's a loaded question.
Come on now. Come on. That's what we're here for.
So, but that's why I brought it up, because I know it's a kind of an uncomfortable conversation for
Yeah.
a lot of us. But for me as a leader, I just want to help. That's all I want to do. I don't need to have any recognition. It's about really helping, right, and being a leader. So how are you going to do that? Well, like he was saying, you have to have a plan. But my thoughts are, in addition to that, is there's got to be an internal examination. There's got to be an external examination. And then we've got to look at the community. So for me, it's internal. What am I doing? How am I affecting what's going on, right? Then external, that means that coach coming to that coach. So it's external, it's outside of you, right? Bring the coaches together. Your coaches come together and shake hands. The team is going to come together and shake hands. The water boys and girls are going to come together, you know what I mean? And then the community. So to me, it's internal, external, internal change, external change, and then community change. And to me, it's in that order. We all grow up from being children and we become adults. If we still act the same way and have the same mentality, we're just going to do the same things we did as children. The whole point of growing up is that you mature and you do things differently, right? And then you go and teach. But what I'm finding is when I'm talking to coaches, the lack of training. So there's something called ACE training, where they utilize ACE training to help bring people together from a peace building standpoint. There's training that's out there. It's just that our coaches have to go right and take the training and then implement it. It's just these kids are not going to respond to because I said so, or there's other ways you have to kind of get into the heads of these young people. So my organization, Chase Your Dreams Academy, we have something called peace building education. I heard a lot of people throw around the word education, but it really, and some people threw around that you don't have legitimate stuff, right? I get that. So there are organizations that do. So you have to find us. I have to find you. That's why I'm here. I have a 5-year-old. I left today. She said, "Mommy, you're always working." Maybe she'll understand. She doesn't know who I am. She doesn't know I play basketball. But the point I'm making is that we've got to connect with people that have the resources. Stacy, you have the resources. I got to connect with you. You know, we got to connect. So peace building education, ACE training, ACE, write that down. That deals with trauma infused kids. Everybody in the room that's a coach should have ACE training. So I think that's important. The other thing is, remember, for me, sports bridges divides. It does, but it starts with the coaches. I have a Nike basketball camp. If you break the triangle up into developmental, progressive, and elite, coach here deals with elite. My program deals with the developmental and the progressive. Most kids are going to make it like I did. They're not going to be elite. That's why I focus on the bottom of the triangle, because there's more kids. That's why I've been in business as long as I have, because there's more people. I don't focus on the elite. When we get the elite, I make a phone call to coach or somebody. Say, hey, we got a player. But we got to focus where we're good at. So.